101, like 101 Dalmatians, but it's in 1632. So we are going to start where the nurse is out in the square. You guys just watched that part on the film, and she has been tasked with touching base with Romeo to see where and when and how her Juliet and him are going to get married. And so we're going to start at line 175 when they have, after the guys have stopped messing with her, and she's taken Romeo into like the church where it's private. Romeo says, "Nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee." And the nurse, she's so excited. She's like, "Good heart and faith, I'll tell her as much. Lord, Lord, she will be a joyful woman." And so she's excited, you know, her little girl's growing up. And Romeo then says, "What wilt thou tell her, nurse? Thou dost not mark me." And the nurse says, "I'll tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentlemanlike offer." And I want to point out this word protest because it's a big pet peeve of mine. And I think all of you guys have probably heard this phrase being used in everyday life, and it's a common misconception. So have you guys ever heard the phrase, "the lady, methinks the lady doth protest too much," right? And it's like if you're like, "Oh, Sally, you have a crush on Bob," and she's like, "Ah, what? No, I don't like him. Not only do I not like him, but he's ugly and he's annoying and he's stupid." And then they're like, "Oh, methinks the lady doth protest too much," which is like hinting at like the fact that she's saying no so much means that she's kind of guilty of yes, you know, sort of like who ate that cookie? What? Not me. It definitely wasn't me. No, I don't even like cookies. Cookies? I hate cookies. Right? So that's when someone might say, "Oh, methinks the lady doth protest too much." That like, oh, you're saying no when it's actually yes. But in Shakespeare's time, protest meant to make protestations of marriage, to go pronounce that you love someone. We think of a protest as like, "Oh, stop the war," or whatever. That's someone saying something passionately. A protest isn't going against. A protest is saying something with passion. And so its origins are that people would make protestations of marriage in front of people. And that was the marriage ceremony, right? "I love you and I love you." And the priest says it's okay, and now we're married. And so when in Hamlet, which is a Shakespeare play you're going to read senior year, Hamlet's mom, her husband dies, so she starts sleeping with her husband's brother. Oh. Hamlet, not so happy about his mom sleeping with his uncle. You know, doesn't make one feel very good about life, especially after his dad just died. And so he can't just straight up say like, "Mom, what are you doing acting out like this?" So instead, and this is another play, Hamlet, he hires some actors to come to his house. They're all very rich, you know, and he has the actors act out a play of a woman who makes the mistake of like after her husband dying, marrying someone else, and like how it didn't turn out right. Because it's Hamlet's way of being like, see mom, do you see what's happening to her? Don't you think maybe you should think about what you're doing? And after the play, he's like, "So mom, what'd you think? How'd you think? Did you like it? What'd you think of the play? Any thoughts? Any opinions on like the characters? Did you notice any similarities or like anything like that?" And the mother, she says, "Oh, methinks the lady doth protest too much." And that is her saying, "I think that the lady is getting married too much." Not that she is protesting something, but that I think she's making protestations of love too often. I think she's protesting too much. And so the idea that the lady doth protest too much is really her saying, "Oh, I think she gets married too often." And Hamlet's like, "Yeah, who else gets married too often?" Is that coming from ours or across the street? Across the street. Wow, that's far. It's still so loud. So that's just a kind of a little side note. And now you can, when you get to that part in Hamlet, you'll be like, "Oh, that's what she was talking about. Oh, the protestations of marriage. Hi." So when Romeo says, when Romeo asks her what she'll say, the nurse says, I'll tell her that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentlemanlike offer. Like, I'll tell her, yeah, you will marry her, and that's very gentlemanly of you. And now this is what you're going to be doing for your loyalty entry, okay? It's going to be these 4 lines, and then you're going to skip some lines, and then it will be lines 90 to 192. So it's this right here. Romeo says, bid her devise some means to come to Shrift this afternoon, and there she shall at Friar Lawrence's cell be shrived and married. Here is for thy pains. And so the nurse is like, oh, no, truly, sir, not a penny. Go to, I say you shall. This afternoon, sir? Oh, well, she shall be there. And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair, which to the high top-gallant of my joy must be my convoy in the secret night. Farewell, be trusty, and I'll quit thy pains. Farewell, commend me to thy mistress. So he's saying at line 183, bid her devise some means to come to Shrift this afternoon. Make her figure out, bid her devise, make her think some way to come to Shrift. And Shrift is like confession. So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for a teenager to be like, I need to go to confession to confess my sins. And that kind of gets her out of the house and gets her to where Friar Lawrence is. He says, and there she shall at Friar Lawrence's cell be shrived and married. Here is for thy pains. So, and there in Friar Lawrence's house of worship and in his office, he will marry us. And then he gives her some money for all of her hard work, and she tries to refuse, but then kind of picks it up anyway. And then Romeo, the second part is what you're also doing for your loyalty entry, these first 3 lines. He says, and stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair. So like a stair made with cords. A rope ladder, right? A rope ladder. So why does he need a rope ladder? Oh, because which to the high top-gallant of my joy must be my convoy into the secret night. He's going to use the rope ladder to sneak into Juliet's house after it's dark so that they can have their wedding night. Because you really have to remember, a lot of this is done hormonally. A lot of this is done like, I love you, you love me, let's get married so we can do all the things that married people do. Because it would be very like, not just like, it wouldn't be like today where only like super religious people think it's bad. Like back then, everyone thought that was bad and it just wasn't something that you did. So they're really eager to get a move on. Remember, they just met last night, possibly around midnight. And now what? The nurse met at 9, him at 9 a.m. So they've known each other 9 hours and they're already making wedding plans. This is normal, right? This will totally end well, right? So then they talk a tiny bit, but I want to point out on page, I'm only skipping a couple lines. Actually, I won't skip any lines because it's all right here. So that's 101. On page 103, the nurse says, now, God in heaven bless thee, hark you, sir. And Romeo says, what sayest thou, my dear nurse? And the nurse wants to know, is your man secret? Did you never hear 2 men may keep counsel, did you ne'er hear say 2 men keep counsel, putting one away? And Romeo says, warrant thee, my man's as true as steel. So the nurse is like, hey, that guy that's going to bring the step ladder, the rope made of cords, do you trust him? Haven't you ever heard that if you don't want people to know your secret, you don't tell people your secret? Trying to involve too many people here. This should be kept between us, you know? This should be an A-B conversation. Everyone else should see their way out of it. Haha, alphabet joke. So Romeo says, warrant thee, my man's as true as steel. And the nurse is going to say something interesting because she's going to mention how really Paris is the one that she thought Juliet would be with, and how Paris is the one that wants to be with Juliet, but that she's happy for her and Romeo too. She says, well, sir, my mistress is the sweet lady, Lord. Lord, 'twas a little prating thing. Oh, there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife abroad. But she, good soul, has a leaf, see a toad, a very toad as I see him. I anger her sometimes and tell her that Paris is the properer man, but I'll warrant you when I say so, she looks as pale as any clout in the versal world. Doth not Rosemary and Romeo begin both with a letter? And Romeo says, I know, I nurse, what of that, both with an R. And the nurse says, "Ah, mocker, that is the dog's name. R is for the... No, I know it begins with some other letter, and she hath the prettiest sensuous of it all, of you and Rosemary, and that it would be good for you to hear it." So she's just kind of going on and on. You can kind of ignore what she says. The interesting thing that she says earlier on is that there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain, that wants to be with her. And that she's kind of bringing up, like, I thought, like, Paris was lovely. And I always told her, oh, he's so proper. He's a flower of courtesy. He's a man of wax. But she never liked when I said that. And so now the Romeo says, "Commend me to thy lady." And the nurse says 1,000 times, and they leave. So on page 103 at the bottom is scene 5. And this is what we're going to read, and then we'll go back inside. So Juliet has been waiting, pacing, right? Oh my gosh, this is taking so long. What is taking so long? The nurse has been gone for so long. She wants to know what's happening with her life. It's only my life on the line. It's only my future. No biggie. Ugh, the clock struck 9 when I did send the nurse. In half hour she promised to return. Perchance she cannot meet him. That's not so. Oh, she is lame. Love herald should be thoughts which 10 times faster glides the sunbeams, driving back shadows over luring hills. Therefore do nimble pinioned doves draw love, and therefore hath the wind swift Cupid wings. She's like, oh, doesn't she know? Love is supposed to move fast. Right now, it's the good times. We gotta hurry this up. Why is she being so slow? Why is she being so lame? Now is the sun upon the highmost hill of this day's journey. Oh, from 9 till 12 is 3 hours long. Yet she is not come. She's been gone for 3 hours, and yet she's still not here. Had she affections and warm youthful blood, she would be as swift in motion as a ball. My words would bandy her to my sweet love, and his to me. But, old folks, many fain as they were dead, unwieldy, slow, heavy, pale as lead. Oh my gosh, she's taking so long. And then finally comes the nurse. Oh God, she comes. Oh honey nurse, what news? And the nurse, she's gonna milk this. She's gonna, oh honey nurse, what news? Hast thou met with him? Send thy man away. Peter, stay at the gate. Now, good, sweet nurse. Oh Lord, why lookest thou sad? Though, if news be sad, yet tell them merrily. If good, thou shamest the music of sweet news by playing it to me with such a sour face. She's like, come on, tell me, is it good news or bad news? If it's bad news, gosh, tell me nicely, put on a happy face. And if it's good news, why the heck does your face look like that? That's no way to look when you have good news to tell. Smile. And the nurse is like, oh, I am weary, give me leave a while. Fie, how my bones ache, what a jaunt have I. And Juliet is like, oh my gosh, she's gonna just like milk this for all it's worth. I would thou hast my bones, and I thy news. Nay, come, pray thee, speak. Good nurse, speak. Jesu, what haste? Can't you not stay a while? Do you not see I am out of breath? How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say to me that thou art out of breath? That's kind of funny, right? She's saying, how are you out of breath when you have enough breath to tell me that you're out of breath? She's like, come on, dude. How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say to me that thou out of breath? The excuse that thou dost make in this delay is longer than the tale thou dost excuse. Top of page 107. Is thy news good or bad? Answer to that. Say either, and I'll stay the circumstance. Let me be satisfied. Is it good or is it bad? Well, you have made a simple choice. You know not how to choose a man. Romeo, no, not he. Though his face be better than any man's, yet his leg excels at all men's. And for a hand and a foot and a body, though they not be talked on, yet they are past compare. He is not the flower of courtesy, but I'll warrant him as gentle as a lamb. Go thy ways, wench, serve God. What? Have you dined at home? So she's saying, oh, Romeo, he's not the best looking, but he's sweet. He's good. He's a good person. And then she stops and she's like, did you eat without me? What have you been eating? And Juliet's like, are you kidding me? Come on, hurry up. And so Juliet says, no, but all of this I know before. What says he of our marriage? What of that? Lord, how my head aches. What a head I have. It beats as if it would fall into 20 pieces. My back, oh, the other side. Ah, my back. Beshrew your heart for sending me out about to catch my death with jaunting up and down. Faith, I am sorry that thou art not well. Sweet nurse, tell me, what say my love? Your love says, like an honest gentleman, and a courteous, and a kind, and a handsome, and I warrant a virtuous. Where is your mother? Where is my mother? Why, she is within. Where should she be? How oddly thou repliest. Your love says, like an honest gentleman, where is your mother? Oh, God's lady dear, are you so hot? Mary, come up, I trow. Is this the potulance for my aching bones? Henceforward, do your messages yourself. So it's funny because she's about to tell her, right? Your love says, like a good and a sweet and a kind boy, he says, where's your mom? She's like, where's my mom? What's that? What's the type of thing to say? He didn't say, where's my mother? Why are you asking that? And then she's just, wanting her to answer. And so then the nurse is like, is this such a potulous for my aching bones? Henceforward, do your messages yourself. And Juliet's like, oh, here is such a coil. Come, what says Romeo? And the nurse gets all excited. She stops putting on airs. Have you got leave to go to shrift today? And Juliet's like, I have. Then hie you hence to Friar Lawrence' cell. There stays a husband to make you a wife. Now comes the wanton blood up in your cheeks. They'll be scarlet straight at any news. Hie you to church, I must another way, to fetch a ladder by which your love must climb a bird's nest soon when it's dark. I am the drudge and toil in your delight, but you shall bear the burden soon at night. Go, all to dinner, hie you to the cell. So it's funny because she makes kind of a dirty joke here. She's like, oh, well, if you've got leave to go to shrift is like confession. So it's, like I said, it's a good way to excuse to get out of the house. And she says, well then, waiting for you at Friar Lawrence's cell in his office stays a husband who's ready to make you a wife. And oh, your cheeks are getting scarlet. Your cheeks are getting a little bloody. Your cheeks are getting blushing. The blood is running up into them. Soon your cheeks are going to be a lot redder. If you think I'm doing work right now, having to run and get a ladder and go this way and that, I am the toil and the drudge and your delight, but you shall bear the burden soon at night. Like, I'm working hard right now, but girl, on your wedding night, you're going to be working hard too. Just wait. And so again, kind of like a dirty joke. The audience would be laughing at that point. And then Juliet says, hi to high fortune, honest nurse, farewell. So she's so excited because the nurse has told her exactly what she's wanting to hear, which is that Romeo wants to marry her and they're going to be meeting up to do that. Now, I just want to go over the lines one more time and then we can take time to write them down. But your loyalty lines are Act 2, Scene 4, lines 183 to 186. And then 190 to 192 on page 101. It's these lines. Bid her devise some means to come to shrift this afternoon, and there she shall at Friar Lawrence's cell be shrived and married. Here's for thy pains. Then you're skipping some of those lines, right? Picking back up on line 190. And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair. And that's where you'll stop. So that loyalty entry is your fourth one, and she's basically being told to stay close to the wall of the garden or of the church so that she can meet up with one of Romeo's servants and he can give her the rope ladder so that he can climb into Juliet's bedroom after the wedding, because of course this is really all about the wedding night, not really the wedding. So that is what your loyalty entry is going to be on. Zoomers, you're good to go. If